Are you in need of a virtual assistant? Well, at J. Logan Business Support Services, a virtual assistant company, we focus on helping you maintain and or streamline your business operations while minimizing the hassle of busy work. To request services, contact us at info@jloganbizsupport.com or visit our website at jloganbizsupport.com and allow us, your virtual assistant, to lift the weight while leaving you with peace of mind.
Hey, how you doing? This is James J.T. Thompson. I'm the host of the Elite Life Talk Show. I'm glad that you can be with us, everybody that's watching. We have a very special guest in the building, none other than Miss Victoria Allen. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So introduce yourself to our audience. Kind of tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes.
So I am Victoria Allen. I am from Georgetown, South Carolina. I went to Winthrop University, and I'm the author and creator of Buddy the Bear and the children's book series Buddy the Bear Books.
So awesome when you have a visual going on with the audio, because it tells the story even more. We've had a couple of interviews and we've got some insight on Buddy the Bear and Victoria Allen, but it's really cool to have you in live living color and talking a little bit about how everything came about. So tell us the story about how you came up and created the Buddy the Bear series.
So I just started with the first book. So this is the first book, Buddy the Bear, the classic, the original, the one and only.
Awesome.
So this was just a book that I created. I wanted to create a bedtime book for kids to help them go to bed. It was something that I struggled with. Like, I used to crawl into my parents' room. I'm not going to say till what age, but at some point I got kicked out, right? Dad was like, no, that's enough of that. You got to figure it out. So I just wanted to create something for kids, something fun. It really just came to life for me when I actually saw, when the illustrator made this character, that's when I was like, okay, Buddy the Bear can definitely go different places and teach kids different things. And I always was a fan of picture books, right? Like the colorful books. So naturally, when I created a book, I made sure that was in there for the kids that are more like me, that need that pop of color and excitement in a book to get them interested in reading.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a great concept, because that is something that's realistic, and a lot of people can, really know that to be, something that's, we deal with even as kids and as parents, with nieces, nephews, we see it. So it is a great concept, great idea to address that, because finding different ways to deal with things is definitely, a great thing. So, so tell us now that we have Buddy the Bear, and he's, the reality of him, what are the plans moving forward with Buddy the Bear?
So Buddy the Bear, it's really exciting because every day I'm thinking of different ways on what I can do to help build literacy. So what really helped to launch my ideas and thinking is that naturally I started looking into what issues do kids have with reading, what's the community already doing with reading. So that's when I came across Read Charlotte. So it's an organization that has different tools and resources and volunteers out there to help get kids closer to their goal is to get kids to 80% of students by third grade reading at their reading level. Because if not, by third grade, it just doesn't look good. Like they have all these statistics on what happens to the kids, and it's just not as successful of an outlook than kids are actually reading at their level. So when the coronavirus came over, I was a volunteer at the school. And then, they were like, no more volunteers, of course, right? Because they were in the process of shutting down the schools and sending the kids home. So I was at home just thinking, what can I do, right? What can we do to make sure that kids have more access to free resources out there for them to read? And so I decided so we had the first two books here, but what I decided to do, meeting other authors that were looking for a platform to have their books, showcased, I decided to create Imagine Time TV. So what that consists of is it's a fun reading channel for kids where I will be reading the book to them, but then also the words will be highlighted so they can read along as well. And just bring different authors and new books to the platform, right? So we all have our books from back in the day that we really enjoy, but with new kids, you need new ideas and new books. So that's what I want to do, or will be doing on the platform Imagine Time TV. So it's just growing.
Yeah, and it's dope. I think about the concept of myself. One thing I'm really proud of from when I was younger is in the first grade, I made a challenge that a teacher laid out to me, and I read 60 books within the year's time, and I was so excited to accomplish that. And they also gave reinforcement certificate that I still have to this day. That's and you do have to be creative. You do have to find new ways to reach this generation of readers, to try to encourage them to strengthen their, the skills in reading. Reading is something that seems to be, out of everything that we learn, reading is the fundamental thing, to all of that, the common denominator.
You do it every day. It doesn't matter. And I try to relate that to kids. It really doesn't matter what profession you decide to do. You're going to have to read, period.
Yeah.
And the better you are at it, especially if you decide to go to college and, continue your education, if you're not good at reading, I don't know how well you will be at studying,
That is
so
true.
it just builds upon, it builds upon. So if you can give a child a healthy foundation, they should be good, have a good solid foundation to succeed.
Yeah, and a very important one. And in elite life, I think, one of the fundamentals again is reading. And I want to ask you, how much do you really see it affecting our community, like up close and personal? Like it's not just a myth, like it is something that's real. So, you addressing it in one way. How can we continue to be consistent, and making sure that we're creating young and avid readers?
Oh, that's so one thing that I noticed, especially, so when I usually carry my books everywhere, right? So if I see a child, even if I'm in a hair salon, I see a child there, I'm like, I have a children's book, and I'll usually hand it to the child. And sometimes you'll see the interaction with the parent with the child, like the child is interested in reading the book, but they don't really know, they're not able to, but the parent is just kind of caught up in what they're doing. So you kind of miss that opportunity. So that's where I, understand that with parents, especially now, they have so much going on. They're homeschooling now. They're doing all these things that they normally wouldn't do. So, I feel like if we all do our part to just help at that time, or help, bridge that gap that there may be, then it would be a brighter future for everyone. Just imagine if we all helped each other in the way that we could, right? So I think that we all have, I feel like we all have gifts or things that we are good at. And I think that if we just utilize that and actually put the effort in to, give that to the world, then as a community, we would just be so much better. But I think it just comes down to answering the call. So before I even started, I had this idea about writing a children's book, but at first it's like, I've never done that before. Why would I do that? Does that make sense? That's really not what my career was. But it's sometimes we're called to do something, and it's just, you just have to answer it. And sometimes it's scary, hard work, but it's so worth it. It is so worth it.
Makes so much sense what you just said, and somebody needed to hear that, without a doubt. Awesome. Let's get into some fun things before we, we bring everything together. Let me ask you this: do you think that in our lifetime we see a woman as president?
In our lifetime? Yeah, I think so. I mean, we were close.
We're close. Yeah,
we were close,
yeah.
Right? So I think that at that point, before you're like, would there even be a woman that would be a candidate, right? So now that we had that, like, we were able to do that, I do think that the possibility is definitely there, for sure. I'm not counting that out at all.
So let me ask you the $1 million question. Do we see another African American president in our lifetime?
Heck yeah! What do you think about to say? No? Yes, we're gonna speak that into existence. I mean, it's happened, right? I do think it's possible. What about you? What you think? What you think about those two questions that you just asked me?
I definitely think it's in the process. If everything holds in the Democratic side with Mr. Biden, if he chooses a female candidate, I do think he'll be successful based off of that one element, because it puts us one more step closer to actually having that come to the forefront. Because I think whoever that individual is going to exhibit so much strength and leadership in that role. They're going to show us how possible that is if they were in the main role. And I think it's something that's overdue. I think there were a lot of politics and a lot of things that came into play that, prevented Hillary Clinton from being that person. But I think that it set the stage for the next person. And I think it comes in steps. I think it does come. Everything else has been covered. So vice president is the next step in the phase. And then I think after that happens, then it prepares us as a society for a woman being in office and being the president. And I really hope that I see it in my lifetime, because I think it would be something to see. It was amazing for me to see an African-American male as president. Made me think about my father, who was resting in heaven, as well as my grandmother, who would both be amazed at that fact alone. And it made me think how that idea was so far away in their mind, because they lived and came up in a time that was so different. And I actually got to see it happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's that is what's amazing to me, and that's what will always be amazing about that process, is that we actually witnessed it. So I pray and I hope that it's something that we can build off of, and continue to minimize toxic energy and build off more positive energy. Is what I would like to see. So it builds me to my next question to you. Tell our audience how important it is to exercise your right to vote.
This is so important, because I think we know some people that may be close to us, or just someone that just says, well, I'm just not going to vote because why does it matter? Right? You're like, really though? Like, you really, but I just think that taking that attitude even with voting, or, that type of attitude is toxic in general, right? When you just say, why even do anything about it? You probably won't go after your dreams, I'm sure if Barack Obama had that attitude, he probably we wouldn't have seen everything that happened, right, with him. So I just think it's really important to get out there and vote, understand what's happening in the community. Because if you don't sit and do anything, then you really can't complain about it. But I think that's what people do. You don't vote,
Yeah,
but then they be the main ones that be complaining about it, but they didn't do anything to try to create change.
that's
So
true.
it's just very important, very important.
So let me get the other elephant out of the room. COVID-19.
How many you got?
all over, all over everywhere.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask you, are you discouraged from wanting to travel abroad or see different places because of the risk of contracting COVID-19?
No, not at all. I'm thinking about, once they left. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not about to go out here as soon as they open the gates. I'm
Yeah,
not about to run to the first concert that they have pop up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I am a person that naturally starts to adapt to the new normal before we're forced to do it, just in case, that I'm already in the flow of things. So I do wear a mask when I go outside the majority of the time, right?
yeah.
One time I didn't wear a mask, and then I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I was scared like the whole night. I was drinking hot tea, vitamin C. So anywho, I wear
Yeah,
my mask when I go out. But no, I want to travel. I still want to see the world. I do think there will be adjustments. I was reading last night that one of the airlines already are starting to adjust how they board planes. It'll be like 10 at a time and things of that nature. But I just think that life is going to continue to change and throw these challenges at us. And I was just amazed to see at how much we've already adapted, right? Doing these Zoom
yeah,
calls and everything like that. You're starting to see all these leaders emerge. And there's just people just giving back to the community, and I'm just happy to see that, right? And
yeah.
but long story short, to answer your question, yes, I'm traveling. I don't know where I'm going first, but I'll get out of here, and I will be in my mask and checking things out. So, I mean, what do you think? Are you going to you stay in your house this whole time? What you gonna do?
I've still been working. In the day job, I'm essential. I work with people with disabilities and special needs. So and continue to work in masks and gloves and special equipment all day, 8 hours out of the day, but it gives me an opportunity to protect an environment that people forget about, a community of people that, you know what I'm saying, that we don't think about, also have those needs and also need to be protected during this time as well. So I do think about traveling again. I'm not going to be one of those people that's breaking down the door when they reopen everything.
Right. Gotta
Um,
wait.
I still think God gave us common sense, and we need to incorporate that. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily agree with everything opening up so soon
Right.
because, in the neck of the woods where I'm at, there isn't a curve yet, but yet we're opening up like there is a curve and numbers are still building. So that part concerns me. But the thing that I lean on the most, you got that mustard seed faith and you believe in the God that I know,
Right.
and this too is going to pass.
Yep.
We just have to, continue to use common sense, be mindful of our atmosphere and environment. Don't be afraid to wear the mask because there's still a fence of protection around you, but you have to be smart about it.
Right.
And then, understand that I think the world needed a reset. We needed to be refreshed. We needed a time to self-evaluate. And for those to really get what that's about, you know what I'm saying? So I've heard the terminology, God puts you on timeout. You know what I'm saying? There was so many, and there are so many toxic things going on in this land. And I think it was a time to just reevaluate and kind of really grow closer to, you know what I'm saying, the creator. Just kind of look at everything, because everything got simplified. You know, things we take for granted, like family, you know, at times, and, you know, what we do as far as balancing our time and stuff. So those are the things that I seen, you know, and that I hope that when we come out of this pandemic, my thoughts and my prayers are that we all see things a little clearer, and that we all apply the things to our life that we need to in order to be ready for what is to come. Let's not walk in fear. Let's walk by faith. You know, I heard a sermon today said, you know, faith over facts, meaning although we know the facts, you still incorporate your faith and be smart about how you navigate, you know what I'm saying, through the atmosphere. Let me ask you this. How big of a sports fan are you?
I mean, I watch it, but I know that sports fans had a really rough time when Corona came and that shut everything down. I understand that. I can't say I understand the magnitude of what y'all went through during this period, but I was okay.
Did it make you see something a little different? Has when you took away something that, well, it had an importance as far as recreation, but at the end of the day, you also got to analyze, well, you know what can you do, like what we're talking about today, if you can't actually see a sport or watch a sport? Why don't you go research it? Why don't you go look up some fun things about it? You know what I'm saying? Become even more familiar with that particular sport. Like, to me, we came into a time where we able to read, research, and really reflect. You know what I'm saying? And I think that there's been an opportunity for us to see and recognize, you know, like in basketball, you know, we have, you know, the Chicago Bulls documentary is dropped. And for a lot of people that grew up and came up watching Michael Jordan, you got reminded why he was so great. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you talk to your kids and your family about, well, you know, y'all had Kobe and LeBron, but let me remind you of somebody that came up, you know, that was playing in my time. You know, much like, you know, my uncles and stuff did for me. They were telling me about Dr. J and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, how great they were during their generation. It makes you appreciate, you know, like, wow, you know what? From generation to generation, we have an opportunity to pass down knowledge and you know, show some wisdom on certain things. So I think that's mad cool. Let me ask you this. Who would you say was a role model or somebody that inspired you coming up?
Oh man. Um, I don't just want to say one person, because then I don't want everybody to get mad at me. That's a dangerous question.
It is.
I would say just my family in general. Just my mom and dad from the beginning. They made sure that I would say that giving back to the community has always been instilled in me since I was young. You know, they started showing me that at a very young age. And then as far as like my sister, she's 14 years older than me, right? So when she went off to college, she's a pharmacist now. She would take that time to make sure she would bring me to Charlotte, you know, show me around, give me some things to do, because I was really in a small town, right? So she, you know, she took that time out with me, and then my brothers, you know, they're just so funny. They give me my personality. So just my family in general has just helped shape me to pretty much create what I'm creating now. Even with the children's book, I mean, like I've said before, my parents have been telling me that, you know, like, hey, you're really good with kids. I think you should, do something with kids. They were pushing me in the teacher lane, and I was like, nah, I'm good. But just like anything, you can find your way of doing something, right? And still, they saw those gifts in me, but I found the best way that was, that felt right for me to bring that gift out and share my passion with the world.
Such an awesome answer. I mean, what gems you just dropped in that particular answer. So I'll say this. Author Victoria Allen, it has been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the Elite Life Show. Please give us your social media handles and how people can follow you and how we can get, more familiar and closer to Buddy the Bear.
Yeah, so I'll start with Buddy the Bear. So the books, if you want to know about the books, on IG and Facebook is at Buddy the Bear Books. And then I'm going to go ahead and push Imagine Time TV. So I already have the handle for IG and Facebook. We have a YouTube page coming, Imagine Time TV. And hopefully once we get that, everything going, we'll be dropping that soon this week with the first story, which the first story, of course, will be Buddy the Bear, right? And then we're going to be, we already have other authors that are lined up that want to share their book and everything on that platform. So we're just going to keep it rolling. So that is Imagine Time TV on Facebook, IG, YouTube. So check it out. And then there's me, right? So if you just want to see, what I'm doing out in the streets these days, I'm on Instagram at The Creator Victoria. So I think I gave you enough handles and places to find me.
Without question, and those are some important ones. And definitely follow up with author Victoria Allen. She has a lot of great things going on. Definitely impacting and inspiring our community, and it's what we like to highlight here on Elite Life. So kudos to you, salute to you. God bless your journey and everything that you're doing, and keep doing it. And we're definitely going to keep up anything that you need. Don't be a stranger to the show. The next phase of what you have going on, please come back and let's talk about it so we can continue to get that out there. But we appreciate what you're doing. And, you keep inspiring and impacting people. And we thank God for what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. So God bless you, and we will talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Definitely topped it up with author Victoria Allen. She was a dope guest. A lot of great things coming up. Follow her on our social media handles, and let's keep up with what Buddy the Bear is up to, as well as the brand new project that she has coming, as well too. Very important. Reading is not just fundamental; it's necessary on all angles. For everybody that wants to be a guest or more information on the Elite Life talk show, please send an email to elitelife57@gmail.com. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, TNE Networks, in order to keep up with the brand, the different shows on here, like Elite Life, also the Brave Talk Show, and many other shows that we got coming. Best way to link up with that is to subscribe. So you're already here, you're watching the show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see more. Also, TNEnetworks.com. Check out the website, be plenty of things, to check out web pertains to that. And also, if you're interested in being a sponsor or any advertisement, you can go to t.n.e.networks.llc@gmail.com and get more information about that. We appreciate you tuning in to this episode of Elite Life. Remember this. We have 8 minutes that we can survive without oxygen. But not 1 second can we survive without God. Heed the message, keep your foot on the pedal, and stay focused. God bless. I'm your host, James J.T. Thompson. You've been watching the Elite Life Show on TNE Network.